that style, what is that style of image representation? It's not quite painting. It's like kind of like an acrylic.
Yeah, you know what? It occurred. And here's one of the weird things about AI. Sometimes you type in something, you get an amazing image, and it's working, and you get something back that's fantastic, and you can go the next morning and type in exactly the same prompt and not get that image,
Right. Yes.
and not even get something like that image. So I have found now if I have something that's working and I love it, I cancel my calls. I don't go out. I just like, it's like you found some kind of vein in a mine of, gold or diamonds or
Right.
something. And that's what you're doing.
Synthedia.
We have another amazing guest today, and I'm really excited to have her on here. Now, before I bring her up, I'm just going to show you a few images, then we'll bring her up on stage. So I'm going to share my screen again, and next up is Ann Spalter. Now, Ann Spalter is an artist of worldwide renown. Back in the 1990s, she helped create the first digital media education programs at Rhode Island School of Design. Rhode Island School of Design, RISD, maybe one of the top, if not the top, design and art schools in the world. She was also at the same time created one at Brown University. And since then, she's been known for installation art. She's been shown in around the world in museums and in private collections. And most recently, she launched something called AI Spaceships. And that's one of the things that you can see that on the screen. Now, Anne is a very accomplished artist. And in this case, she's a very accomplished artist who worked with Night Cafe, an AI image generator, to create all these images. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. There's 501 of these. That means 501 different prompts, I believe. We'll talk to Anne about that in just a moment. And she's got some other things that are going on where she's using Dall-E, Stable Diffusion, Midjourney. This is a show that's coming up, and I think this is going to be really fun to talk to her. So what I should do is say, Anne, why don't you join me? Ann Spalter,
Hi,
welcome to
everyone.
Synthedia.
Thank you. Thank you, Brett, for that awesome introduction.
Okay, so where was your inspiration? Why did you decide that you were going to create the Spaceships project using Night Cafe and not using some of the tools that you'd used for 2 decades?
Um, well, first of all, I think you can tell that I'm super into outer space, spaceships, and have been in my artwork for decades. So even when I was using just traditional media and other digital media. So, and you saw in some of those other images before I began to use AI, I was using all kinds of video and other tools, some of which were customized. When I first saw AI, I was immediately intrigued and began to experiment with different things, originally more just GAN based. When someone told me about text to image AI, it sounded so futuristic, like science fiction, that you would type in a text and get an image seemed magical to me. And I still find it magical, even though I now use it every day. Um, so I just began experimenting with everything out there. I love Night Cafe. They're constantly improving and making new things available to people with really easy to use interfaces. So I've also done custom, systems, collab notebooks, different things that are more involved. But Night Cafe is just really easy to use. So I think it's a great tool for artists that don't want to become really technically immersed in the details of AI.
Okay, so give us an example of what a prompt looks like.
All right, so when I began the spaceship project, one of my initial prompts was literally the word spaceship. So a prompt could be unbelievably simple. Some prompts are a big thick paragraph long where someone types in a lot of descriptive text and a lot of modifiers. Usually a prompt begins with kind of literally what you want to see, maybe spaceship in the desert at night, or spaceship crashing in flames, fire, things like that. And then you get to more and more details. So spaceship at night on fire, then you might add, flames or multiple spaceships or reflections, and kind of working down the level of details. Often then people add different artistic prompts if you want it to be in a certain style. surrealistic or, the Renaissance or something like that. I tend not to use those because I kind of want to build my own style. But you can also do that by putting together a lot of different artist styles until you get one that is sort of your style that you've made by combining other people's.
Could you give me just a couple of the elements which in the prompt describe your style for AI spaceships?
I obviously had a lot of locations. I had desert, I had winter, a lot of outer space, on fire, crash, Armageddon, doom, um,
But
kind
how
of
about the representation of it? Like I know the descriptors, like
yeah,
because it's and by the way, I should tell people you can go to Spalter, is it nspalter.com? Yep.
yep,
Nspalter.com. If you click on NFT AI spaceships, I think is where you find it, or it's on OpenSea. But you should
yeah.
look at it. It's
OpenSea
an
AI
amazing collection.
spaceships.
Okay. OpenSea AI spaceships. All
Yep.
right. So it's an amazing collection. People should look at it. But that style, what is that style of image representation? It's not quite painting. It's like kind of like an acrylic.
Yeah, you know what? It occurred. And here's one of the weird things about AI. Sometimes you type in something, you get an amazing image, and it's working, and you get something back that's fantastic, and you can go the next morning and type in exactly the same prompt and not get that image,
Right. Yes.
and not even get something like that image. So I have found now if I have something that's working and I love it, I cancel my calls. I don't go out. I just like, it's like you found some kind of vein in a mine of, gold or diamonds or
Right.
something. And that's what you're doing. Like you're not doing anything else until you get kind of all of the great images that you can from that prompt. And I don't know if it's a neural net, like it's learning
Yes.
and it shifts or they're tweaking the algorithm.
Yeah.
But
It's designed to do that.
yeah,
In fact, people, even things that are supposed to be stable are not, because uh, when the system learns and they do an update, parameters are going to change. And so this is one of the reasons why like regression testing is so difficult, but also so important in some of these systems. But what a pro tip there, that if you find something you like, you better just bang on it hard, get what you can out of it, because
absolutely.
tomorrow it might not be the same.
I do a lot of photography of clouds up here in my work a lot, and I learned that if you see a great cloud formation, you have to just like pull over. You're on the highway or wherever you are or what you're doing.
Yes.
You have to take that photograph right away because even a few seconds later, it can be different. So it's kind of like the weather, and you have to just leap right on it with AI.
Okay,
So
so
yeah,
you're working with Night Cafe, or you worked with Night Cafe on that
yeah,
project.
I'm
You've
working
been
with
doing
everything.
Dall-E,
So
Midjourney.
yeah.
Tell me what you think the difference is between them today.
So they're all a little different. They're kind of like different, instruments, like different timbres or something, like a piano is different from a guitar and a saxophone. And, they all are great and they just are different. Um, I was using Midjourney and I love Midjourney. It gives very artistic results, which a lot of people have commented on. I got access to Dall-E and I thought, oh, this is great because everyone's making such cool stuff. And the first few things I got were so bad. I was like, Dolly's really terrible, and I realized it must be me. And I did get better. You have to learn how to talk to it. And I found it was much more literal. So Midjourney, I could be a lot more suggestive and sort of put a bunch of words together, kind of in a random like order without really describing exactly what I wanted. And Midjourney would kind of give me something beautiful on its own. And Dall-E, I had to be a lot more, felt more like I was talking to sort of like a slow child. Like I need exactly this.
Right. Well,
Um,
it's a literalist, right? And you can
yeah,
think about the people who built it and the fact that they started with GPT-3, that it's going to be a literalist system. You would
yeah. If
expect
you
it to
don't
be very
explain it,
precise.
you don't know what you're going to get. So
Yeah.
I got some really bonkers stuff that wasn't helpful. And then I realized like, okay, you just have to be very explicit.
Oh, that's
And then I began to get beautiful things.
uh-huh.
So, and you kind of learn. So you see the image, you modify the prompt, you see the image, you modify the prompt, it's teaching you and you're
Right.
responding. And then all of a sudden you know how to write a prompt for it.
Absolutely.
And now I'm obsessed with Dall-E and using it all the time. So,
Excellent. Well, that's another great pro tip that, obviously the difference between the systems. And in fact, I recommend people try multiple because they do
yeah,
give you a different experience.
yeah. And then, what order you put the words makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So, you get something that's working and maybe it stops working as well. And then you can just kind of shuffle the words around and it sort of like Scrabble, like you move the letters around to
Yeah.
see like find a word in there.
And a little pro tip for people, if you want to learn a little bit more about this, you can go to Fraser, which is a new solution which actually helps you write the prompts and make you better at this. Now,
And there are
you know
websites where you can buy prompts now.
well, yes, prompt based is a perfect example
Yeah,
of that. So,
it's pretty
but
funny.
that's totally cheating. We want people to create stuff.
Yeah, but it can be
I
good.
think it's amazing
It can
because you can
help,
iterate.
Yeah.
Yes,
And if you're just starting out, you can see and you could buy one that's really well structured and gives you a certain result, and then you can be like, oh, like that's how they got that, and then you can build on it and
I
tweak
100%
it.
agree. I think like something like prompt based is a great place to learn as well as just to get icons and sort of short circuit the process. Now, do you know the name Jason Allen?
I do not.
Are you familiar with the art contest that was won by a Midjourney piece?
Yes, I am. I
Jason
think
Allen is the
I got
artist.
I
He
got
calls
sent that
himself a
article so
developer.
many times.
I'm sure you did. Okay. So there was some controversy around that. Some people didn't like it, particularly in social media realm. The judges actually had no problem with it, and the other contestants had no problem with it. But I was thinking, you have done this. You have created a collection which is very popular. It's sold out, 501 pieces. I think it was like 20 minutes or something like that, very quickly.
Yeah, a little over an hour, but still pretty
What did people
fast.
say? They're like, Ian, you've been creating by hand art all your life, and now all you're doing is you're typing and you're letting a machine do it for you. Is that really art? Are you really still an artist?
I think in my case, it was not so much of an issue because I had already been an artist for decades and because this collection was in the NFT realm. So AI art has been around in the NFT universe for a while now. And I think AI and NFTs go together very, very well.
Yeah.
The way it produces a bunch of things and that community is so forward thinking. So I think it's less of an issue in that space. But I just did do the show, Spring Break Art Show, that you showed some images from.
Right.
And I had used AI from it last year, and actually the year before a little. And when people came by and I had to explain GANs and things, no one had any idea what I was talking about. This year, when I said I was using text to image AI, I hardly ever had to explain it. Everyone knew what I was talking about. Everyone had read about it in the media. And even people that didn't know when I said it completely accepted that this was how things worked. And they were like, oh yeah, when
That's
I
right.
first heard about it, I was like, no way, like that, how would that work? So I don't know, I feel like we're living in the future where it's normal that you type in text and you get images,
That's right.
And kids now are going to do this and they're not going to remember a time where you didn't type in
Absolutely.
text and get images.
And that is a perfect piece of evidence of what's going on in terms of awareness and adoption in this space and how quickly synthetic media has gone from something that people thought was scary or not very good or in the uncanny valley to like everyday technology that people are familiar with. They're creating AI generated backgrounds on TikTok today in less than a minute. And it's making their green screen backgrounds look more interesting because it's not the same every time.
Yeah, it's really, really fun to use. So the bar is so low and the results are so really fantastic, So it's not going to make everyone an artist, just like the camera didn't make everyone an artist, but we all use the camera. Everyone has a phone, everyone takes photos. They're not photographers, but I think we all benefit from having that capability.
Absolutely. Well, I can't think of a better way to end than that. Everyone check out Spalter.com.
Synthedia.
Synthedia.substack.com. Synthetic media, virtual humans, voice clones, deepfakes, AI image and text generation news and more.